Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the PlayStation Plus podcast episode. It's 16, Max, episode 16. With me today, we got Mad Max, Saggy Melons, Poindexter Lowndes, also known as Isaac, and Zod Rider, and special guest Tommy TALLARICO.
TALLARICO. Oh my God! All right. Restart the stream. Restart. Nice chatting with you. I'll see you guys later.
I love Tommy.
Damn it. I knew it was almost perfect.
No, you were. It's just because you were feeling the pressure. You were perfect until the TALLARICO.
It was almost perfect.
Yeah, no. But I do
know
Tommy.
Job.
I even watched the video on how to fucking pronounce it. I'm so stupid, man.
No. His pet peeve though is like correctly spell people's, not just him, other people's names too. That's just because I think you do have OCD, Tommy. I love you. A lot of my family
are you kidding me?
Yes, I know, but
I'm a perfectionist. I'm fucking proud of it.
That's the other reason I know that this is going to be a success.
Exactly.
Because of your OCD for sure.
I'm just saying, man just said he was Italian, and you still butchered TALLARICO.
Oh yeah. No, I say keep this in. This is a good start.
You got to keep this in. You got to keep this in.
It stays in.
Keep rolling. Come on, we're in.
All right.
We're in now.
All right.
So, today we're going to be talking about the Intellivision Amico.
Yeah.
Let's freaking get into this conversation. Let's dissect Tommy for what he's got.
All right, dive in. Yeah, well, first of all, Saggy was talking about. Do I call you Saggy? Am I? I don't know. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean it's my name right there.
It's Melons.
Okay. So you're talking about the Italian thing. That's Amico is the Italian word for friend. So there you go. I got some of my culture in there, but. It's great to meet everybody here for the first time. Please, this is a new thing, and television might be new to everyone. So please feel free to ask me any questions you want. Nothing's off the table. Some things I might not be able to answer because of, patent pending issues or just timing things with us. But I'll try to be as transparent as I can with everything. So nothing's off the table.
Can I have one now?
Please.
Can I just have an Amico now to play with it?
You have one now.
Yeah, I want one like right now.
But please.
I actually did have a question regarding that before release, and then
sure.
I do have to pull off a Band-Aid because I said I'm not going to say this first. Well, I will say I said if there's another delay, I'm going to call bullshit too. But I calmed down though. I calmed down.
No, but when did you say that though? Because I'm going to back you up for a second. When did you say that?
After the first delay in April.
In August.
Yeah, in April.
Okay,
and then
so here's the thing. So let's do a quick timeline here.
Yes.
So the Amico was supposed to come out on 10/10/2020, right? That was last year. That's when it was supposed to come out. When COVID started getting into started coming into play in end of January, early February, we started signaling and telling people, wow, big thing, manufacturing shutting down in China, all this thing could possibly come to the US, stay-at-home orders and things like lockdowns. And this could affect our, our launch date. We were saying that back in February. It's on record. Everyone said, by like, and what I told people is I said, look, here's the process. You start manufacturing the machine and we can do about 3,000 to 3,500 units a day. So that's how many we can manufacture. Our first pre-orders are for 100,000 and we had to stop taking pre-orders because again, we can't make that many in the time for launch because of COVID and all the component issues and supply chain issues and all that. So we had to stop taking pre-orders. And so at 100,000 units, that'll take, again, at 3,000 a day, you could do the math on that, right? It takes about a month. And then you can not even, again, it depends because you could have multiple lines going, multiple manufacturing lines going, but it costs more. There's all these things. But anyway, my point was you can manufacture in about a month. Then you have to put it on a boat and from China and it gets to the America shores in a month. And then once it's off the shores, you have to pass customs, which again is all backed up because of COVID. And then you have to go to a warehouse, and then those trucks drive it to the stores. So again, that adds, that could add another week to 2 weeks, depending on customs and all that stuff. So you're looking at about 2.5 months to get something on the store shelves. In 2.5 months from now, I would start to have to manufacture it today, right? And so that's just how China and electronics.
It has to be cost effective too. You can't like rush ship all these.
Right, you could fly it over and save that month, but that adds another $100 or so to the console or whatever. Like it's crazy. So what we were saying is, look, in order to get on the shelves for October, we're gonna know if we can do that. We're gonna know probably by mid to end July. That's what we were telling people all year. And then in the end of July, we knew, and then we made a video, and then that video came out August 5th. And that was August, September, October. So 2 months before. You can see where the timing, how I just explained, we knew 2.5 months that we wouldn't make October. Okay, now the other thing too is, for us to delay, it's not just like we have 50 employees at the company, full-time employees. It's not just us who makes this decision. Right. It's the manufacturers, it's the distributors, and more importantly, it's the retailers, right? Because when you launch at retail, they have to have a big decision making, especially when you're in an industry like video games where so much is coming out at all times. You don't want to come out, and that's partly the reason why we picked out October 10th in the first place. We didn't want to come out around Christmas, because then you get lost in the shuffle of everything that's coming out in PlayStation 5 and Xbox, and everything's coming out. So you have to be very, very strategic, especially for our company, who's like, even though it's an old legacy brand, it's been around 40 years. I've been around 50 years. But even though it's a legacy brand.
You're a legacy brand too, then, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a legacy brand. But we're still the new kids on the block here, right? We're still putting out a product for the first time and this and that. And we only get one chance to make a first impression. We're not Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. We're not billion-dollar company.
You can't do what they're doing and release it and then nothing happened.
Exactly, which is exactly what I feel is going on with the PlayStation and Xbox now, right? And we can't screw it up. Microsoft can have a red ring of death, bury $1 billion and go, oops, we if something like that occurs for us, we're done. And the other thing is, the most important thing is, I'm not willing to sacrifice quality just to get a certain date hit. So what I said specifically, Max, and you can go back and watch it and you'll remember, I said that, look, if everything clears up, because if you remember everyone's mindset in the summer, it was like, you know what? There's going to be a vaccines coming out by the end of the year and blah, 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 blah. And the worst of it's over. There was like two camps. Some people said we're going to get a second round. Other people's like, you know what? We're going to be fine and everything's going to be back to normal by 2021. That was the mindset back in the summer, remember? Mm-hmm. And so I specifically said on that video, and I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just bringing it up because you asked. Because I'm trying to defend you, actually, this whole thing. When you said, hey, if it happens a second time, he's going to call BS. Totally fair. But I said on that stream, if everything goes smoothly and everything starts to get back to normal, then we'll hit that April 15th.
Yeah, you did say
no problem. That's what I said.
Right.
Right?
You did say that.
Now, you tell me, from August to January, did things get better or did they get worse?
Absolutely didn't get better.
They got worse.
All right, so that's definitely fair.
So here we are. We have a 15,000 square foot building that we moved into on November 1st. Because again, we got this based around, things will get back to normal and we can finish up everything in November and December. We have to pass 50 compliance testing things because we're not only launching in the US, but Canada, UK, and Europe all at the same time. 50 different compliance things. which are, it's a process, right? And so we're like, we'll finish up the hardware. We'll do our compliance testing throughout December into January, and then we'll get it on the assembly line at the end of January, so that we can, and then the Chinese New Year starts middle of February. So that would have given us 2 to 3 weeks to manufacture a bunch, to get them on the boat, to get them to the shores, to get them through customs, to get them into the shops by April, right? So again, you can see where the timing, I'm very transparent with everything. Well, what happened is, as I know none of you are in California, but I'm sure you read the news. California, starting December 1st, they announced that, California is on the harshest mandatory lockdowns in the entire country. We have mandatory stay-at-home orders. It is illegal for us to go into our office, and there's even a curfew here where we're at, So although we took over the building on November, it took us a month to get in the internet, to get in the chairs and the tables and the desks, and to get everything in order, right? And so our plan was, everybody go back on December 1st. So we're going to take a month to get the building painted and all the things, all the things up and running, right? Set up everyone's area. Well, that'll take us a month, and then we're all going to go back on December 1st. Well, December 1st is when the lockdown started. Okay. Governor Newsom stated. But he said, look, we're just going to do this for 28 days through Christmas, because Christmas is a time when people like to go out and have parties and stuff, So we're going to do this for Christmas, and let's see where it sends. Hopefully we'll be able to take it off at the end of December. So even then, we're like, okay, maybe we can, maybe we can still make it by the end of, if we can open up in January and everybody works the weekends, we're cranking, maybe there's a way to get at least maybe 5,000 or 10,000 of these things run off before China New Year. And then at the end of December, they said it's still getting worse. The vaccine hit California first, not really having too much an effect just yet. And so they said the lockdown in California is now indefinite, still to this day. So they don't know. 160,000 businesses went out of business in California over the last month. 160,000. And folks, remember, we don't even have revenue coming in, right? We're so all these restaurants, all these unfortunate small business places going on. So we're to pull off what we're doing without a worldwide pandemic is a huge mountain to climb, huge challenge, right? Already, not too many people have even attempted this, right? Like you can say Ouya, 3DO. There's a handful of people over 30 years, right? Who've attempted this. So trying to do this the way we're doing it is a big deal to begin with. But then throw in the fact that for the last year, worldwide pandemic, stock market crashing, blah, 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 riots in the streets, election, all this crazy stuff that's happening in the world right now. Worst depression we've seen since the Great Depression. Unemployment, the highest it's ever been. To do it now, and the fact that we're still here, we're like, I always say we're like Rocky Balboa, and that first movie, when Rocky hits the canvas in the 14th round and Mickey's telling him, stay down, stay down, stay down. And Adrian hears all this clapping. She comes out of the thing and she can see, and she's got tears in her eyes because she sees her husband down, and or they weren't married at the time, but she sees Rocky down, and she wants him to stay down. She doesn't want him to get hurt. And Apollo's dancing around because he finally knocked him down after all the thing. And everybody's telling Rocky to stay down. And he just gets up, and he gets up. And when that look that Apollo gives when he turns around and he sees Rocky standing there, and Rocky's going, come on, come on. and that look in Apollo's eye, I think was the best acting in cinematic history when he just kind of like, are you freaking kidding? He couldn't believe it. No matter what you threw at the guy, he wanted to go the distance and get up.
Tommy.
That's how we feel. We are Rocky Balboa up in this bitch. And you can hit us with COVID. You can hit us with pipeline issues.
But what about the Evercade?
Hit us with murder hornets. Bitch, we're not going down. We are standing up.
I brought this up though because people say I go too easy on you. They still say it. But what about the Evercade?
Well,
And you said the Ouya, and I want to say though, it's different. Evercade is a cool product.
Yeah,
but they do licenses.
I love Evercade.
It's all existing games.
Yes,
you are bringing something new. The Ouya didn't have this marketing agreements with GameStop, Best Buy,
Major League Baseball, Mattel, Hot Wheels.
So that's what I get the argument. Like, well, the Evercade came out, and most of their stuff was done before. It was just
thank you. So that's the other big thing.
Cartridge, and that's it. But it's an existing product. And
the thing with, you could say the same thing about Atari, right? So Atari VCS, they started shipping their product, and that's great. They haven't fulfilled their 13,000 orders though, but the product has come out. Major congrats to them, but they started a year before us. Right. So it's like
that's true. That's a point that Tommy, that's a point that all these people miss when they try to compare the Amico to the Atari
well, the Atari VCS, there's not much to do.
Right, and it's not like there's a lot of games out there for it. It's not like it's really, pushing the envelope here. I don't know.
Yeah. By the way, I just want to say to Max's previous question, which Tommy answered very detailed, by the way. To sum that up very quickly for you, though, Max, it's what I got of what Tommy said is, shut up, it's on its way.
I actually have another follow-up question before the release.
See, that's a Massachusetts girl coming out. See, for those of you who don't know, we were talking a couple minutes before we went live, and me and Saggy, we're both from Massachusetts.
Well, you got to give her exclusive for her channel in the future. You got to go on her channel too.
I'm a gaming channel.
Yeah, she's a twist.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'd love to. So we consider ourselves massholes. That's what you call people from growing up in Mass.
Yep.
Now, something that I like Microsoft did besides my Series X. Well, there is still the Game Pass is the game changer for Microsoft right now.
Sure.
That's it's like Netflix for gamers. It's
nice
great
to see they kept the price.
Yeah,
after much feedback.
I mean, why would they even try that? Like, no, not that they couldn't increase the price, but we're doubling it. Like, that was the weirdest tone deaf announcement ever. I'm like, Microsoft, what the heck is this?
Especially during this time, but
no, not like we're increasing the price. Oh, it's twice as much.
Yeah, but you see, I know the inner workings of like how these companies run and stuff because I've been in the industry so long. This was probably on their schedule 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it's not like they sat in a meeting last month and say, it's COVID and everybody's out of a job. Let's double Game Pass to scratch. That's not the way these companies operate. And Phil Spencer is an awesome guy, super smart, super intelligent. I love him to death. And so, it's not. I'm sure that's something that they had in their business model years ago. That this day, but they made the right decision. They made at the end of the day. You can't fault them for changing their mind and going, you know what? We're going to do the right thing here. So kudos to them.
Yeah,
you got to give them props.
Yeah, I would have flipped out at that.
I have a question about Amico because I don't want to talk about all these other games that we're here about Amico. So I was watching your videos talking about it. And one thing that really intrigued me about the Amico was the LED lighting.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know a little bit more about it because the whole thing is like you guys did a lot of stuff with it. Like you could do a lot of things with it. So what can we actually do with this LED lighting stuff?
It's very cool. I'm glad you asked. So the buttons light up, the disc lights up. But then on the unit itself, and this is just a 3D printed model. You have all the other ones are in the real ones are in the office. Well, I mean, this is a real working unit, but it doesn't. It's not this color. This is just a 3D model. But yeah, so there's lights. So there's lights here, and then around here, and then around here. So when it sits down, no matter what part of the room you're at, you can kind of see it and stuff. And then you have it on here as well. So I'll give you an example. I'll give you a couple examples actually of how we're utilizing the lights. So let's say that you're playing like maybe a RPG kind of vibe, right? We have a game called Cloudy Mountain, which used to be called Advanced Dungeons and Dragons back in the day, and it's a remake of that. What if you could you come up to a chest, and instead of like just, oh, I found the key and I unlocked the key, what if you had to, what if there was colors all around this disc, like each of these quadrants lit up a different color and all of your buttons were lit up a different color, and you had to like figure out, what the color combination was, so that when you got to the chest, it went green, blue, red, and yellow. And so you had to like put the color combination in. Or what if like we have this game called Bomb Squad, which again, it's an old game that was out like in the early 80s that Intellivision did, that we've kind of reimagined. I call it retro reimagined. So in order to, and let's say you have like 4 people on the couch, and you have to put in, you all have to cut a wire, right? So you have to cut a wire at the same exact time so that the bomb doesn't explode. And again, these are all lit up different colors. And then the unit itself, Amico, is actually the bomb in the game, right? And so you can see the timer ticking down right on your Amico, because the lights are going down, and it's going from green, and then you see a yellow light, and then it gets all yellow, and then you see a red light counting down. So it's like, oh my God, like you can actually physically see how much time you have and everything. And then it's like, okay. And then on my controller, it says, and all our controllers are lit up. So like I might be like my disc might be green. So I'm the green player. Max's disc might be red. Your disc might be purple, right? Oh. And on my screen, it'll say, tell the purple player to cut the green wire. And then on Max's controller, it says, tell the blue player, me, to cut the red wire. And then on your controller, it says, tell the green player to cut the red, the blue wire, or whatever, right? So we all have different instructions, and we're all communicating. Okay, who's the red player? Wait, Max, you're red? Okay, you cut the green wire, and we're all shouting because the time's turning down. And then the 4 buttons are the 4 wires, right? So it's like, okay, are you guys ready? Do you have your color? Yes. 1, 2, 3. Wait, are we going on 3 or are we going on 0? Wait, 3, 2, 1, go, or 3, 2, 1? Oh no, go. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go, and you all hit the color at the same time. This is the kind of stuff that no other system. It's so unique.
It's creating like a almost like a board game environment kind of.
Yes, yeah. It's a cross between board games and that's, it's simple, easy, fun, a lot of times quick games that anyone can play no matter what your skill level. My mom can't pick up a PlayStation 5 controller. You know what I mean? Like, it's just dual analog sticks. I love the PlayStation. I love the Xbox. I love Nintendo. But I can't play games with my mom and dad anymore. Right. The controller is a non-starter. The last time we played games was 15 years ago. We could do Wii bowling because that was easy. By the way, we have a gyroscope and an accelerometer here on this as well. the dice games that we have, right? So you can take, when it's your turn, the dice come up on your screen and you shake the screen like this and you see the dice moving and it's vibrating. Whenever they hit the side, it vibrates, and depending on how hard you're shaking it will be how hard the vibration is. And we have a speaker and a microphone here. So the speaker, it's you're hearing the dice clicking. So it's just like you have dice. And then when it's your turn, the lid opens and you go like this and you throw the dice and you can watch them go from the screen and it throws it up onto the TV screen. And so just that little tiny thing alone.
So you can see it going from the screen of the controller to the TV. Okay, that's cool. I like
that. That is cool.
Right? It's these little tiny things that we're doing. And like I always say, look, again, I love Microsoft, Nintendo, Sony. I like them all. I love them all for certain reasons. And I kind of dislike some of them for certain reasons, right? But overall, I love them. But I can't compete with those guys in graphics. I can't compete with them in infrastructure. I can't compete with them in marketing budgets. I can't compete with them with their fan base and with all they're billion-dollar companies that have been around. Nintendo's been around 100 years. People forget that. They're an old trading card company, right?
Yeah.
Microsoft, one of the biggest companies on the planet. Sony, the biggest electronics people in the world. These are... and so again, I can't compete with any. I'm not over here drinking my own Kool-Aid, but where we can compete with them is ideas. And all of these things that I just explained and described, those are all unique ideas that we're able to do. Look, our goal is to kind of be the in-between between super hyper casual mobile. Because what's the biggest problem with mobile, aside from all the ads and the microtransactions and all that stuff? The other biggest problem is all of the edutainment games, the educational games for kids, and all of the hyper casual and casual games out there are on this. But what's the big thing that they all have the same? It's all single player. It's all people just staring at the screen in their own little world. I'm sure if any of you, have family situations or young families out there, you go to their house and it's like the dad's on his phone. They're in a room, but the dad's on his phone, mom's on Pinterest, teenage girls on TikTok, little kids playing Roblox or whatever. Everybody, they're together, but their minds are in different places, and it's so sad to see. And then you see young kids are turning into zombies because they're, and that's the number one concern of young parents in the 21st century, is that they give their kids too much alone screen time. And even me, as I get older as a gamer, I can okay, it's a Sunday here today, right? It's like, oh, am I going to go downstairs and play 5 hours of Miles Morales by myself in a dark room? Well, my wife wants to go somewhere. The dog wants to go for a walk. I could learn a new language. I could build a shed in the back. There's so many different things. So for me to lock myself in a room for 5 hours, I feel guilty almost, right? When you're in a family type of situation. And so I don't want to feel guilty when I play video games. And that's the difference between what we're offering. You don't feel guilty spending time with your family and friends. So yeah, we're not Call of Duty. Yeah, we're not as deep as Legend of Zelda. Yeah, okay, but that's not what we're trying to be. Like you said, we said earlier, we're almost like, think of us as like a board game, family night, a puzzle. We're more in common with a puzzle than we are Fortnite. You know what I mean?
Right. I like the idea of Amico night. Like, hey guys, it's Sunday, Amico night. Let's do some Amico, maybe dinner, then back to Amico. Yeah, it does.
I could see the Amico being used almost like not only like in a home environment with family, but like in an old style pizza parlor kind of environment too.
Oh
for the type of board games where you're mentioning the dice and all that. You remember Tommy back in the early 90s or late 80s, early 90s where they had the video games.
You go to a wings.
We're on a table, and it was like And you'd have like the Pac-Man
trivia stuff.
The table would actually be the video game. The table.
Okay. So,
and you'd have and you'd be able to play from everybody in the family sitting on like all four sides would be able to
totally
go back and forth and play. That's kind of how I'm picturing some of these games for the Amico being.
Right.
Accessible in that way, like being able to just.
If you can't explain the game in under like 10 seconds, then it doesn't belong on our system.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, one thing I like about the Amico that I saw, like I said, I watched some of the videos, and I saw some of the games that were actually featured on the Amico, and I liked that it ranged from games for all types of ages, like games that adults can enjoy down to educational games for the kids. And I think that's really a good thing to have in one system. Is it's very family orientated friendly, which is great. It gets families to, what you said, stop playing games by themselves, get their kids involved, especially with kids who are just into Fortnite. Most of their parents, they don't understand Fortnite. I've worked at GameStop before, so I've had a lot of parents come in and even ask me, like, what is Fortnite? Like, what is this about?
I still don't know.
And I have to explain to them, and it's like these parents want to play and be interested in what their kids are, but because, like you said, the controllers, the consoles these days are not user-friendly for older generations who haven't grown up and adapted to the games. It's simple for them. They can actually play.
You worked at GameStop?
I did. I worked at GameStop.
So here's and this is the reason why GameStop loves us so much, and you'll be able to back this up, I think. So one of the things that GameStop loves about Amico so much is that they say to us all the time. They say, look, where GameStops are mostly located in malls, sometimes strip malls, but malls. And who's shopping between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m? It's moms, usually with small kids. Would you say that was maybe your experience, like during the day, your day shifts at GameStop?
Oh yeah, we most of the GameStops are always in like strip malls, like you said, strip malls or plazas, and it would always be around places where a lot of families do shop. Like there was a Plaza Fun Time right next to us.
So what GameStop tells us is they says they get moms. First of all, a lot of moms might not even like video games because when they think of video games, they think of that evil thing that takes their husband away from them because he's playing Call of Duty in the room by himself, or the things that are turning their kids into zombies, right? So a lot of non-gaming moms have a negative reaction to video games. And I think that's a fair statement. And again, I don't want to say that every mom is like that. No, there's a lot of awesome women who play video games more than their husbands or whatever. So I'm not trying to paint like a picture, but I think it's a fair statement to say that the majority of moms aren't hardcore gamers. I think that's a fair statement, right? Yeah. Again, they might play a lot on hyper casual and Candy Crush and stuff on mobile, but in regards to like PC gaming and console gaming, I think the majority, don't play, let's say. Okay. Right. Let's establish that as being a fair comment. And so when moms do walk in to a GameStop during the day with their 4-year-old or their 5-year-old, and you might have experienced this yourself up at the register or whatever. GameStop always tells us, they're like, moms will come in and they'll say, do you have anything for my 4 or 5-year-old? And the person behind the counter says, nope. Because Roblox is like 7, 8, but that's digital. And, there's not a lot of, because when we were all growing up, and I'm older than you guys, but the same kind of 70s, 80s, 90s, you could walk into a game store and there would be, like THQ would have like the children's stuff, or the PC games would have the edutainment stuff or whatever. That's all gone away, And so, there isn't even a Disney Frozen game for like the consoles and the platform. You know what I mean? Yeah, think about that. That's how much the industry has changed. The only official Frozen game out there is a match 3 game on mobile. And again, that's for moms and microtransactions and blah, 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 blah. So where's the Frozen game for like the 5-year-old girl or 6-year-old girl? It doesn't exist, right?
Right.
And again, there's stuff on mobile. I'm talking now about home consoles. And so that's when you start to think, so what, you nailed it there when you said there's something for everybody. That's really our entire thing here, is that we have board games, family games, kid games. And again, some of the licenses prove this, right? Major League Baseball, Mattel Hot Wheels. That is not an easy license. That is and we're not just like paying money to get a license. That's not how that works. You form partnerships. They don't just give their biggest license to just anyone. You have to do something innovative. You have to do something that is exciting, something that's new, and something that they feel gets their brand out there to more people. Right?
Also, it has to be a certain quality, or do they have the right to like, oh, we need to make this better or something?
Oh, they have 100% rights. 100%.
Okay, so you can't just get the license and release shovelware and then they get upset. Okay, because that's something else that people say. Oh, companies don't. I've heard.
Well, I mean, Tommy, you got Sesame Street, so you got something going there.
If that was the case, how did Superman 64 become a thing?
Right. Well, no, but now let me say again, the licenses that we have. I'm not saying every license does that. Yeah, some people will just license their stuff to anything.
It depends.
But Data East,
but not. But again, not Mattel Hot Wheels,
right.
Not Sesame Street. Sesame Street is a nonprofit organization. It's been around 50 plus years that has the highest respect for like the content that they put out, especially the learning content they put out. And again, if it's so easy to get, how come you know how many console games there are? Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. Do you know how many console games there are with Sesame Street? Google it. I'll tell you. Save you some time. 0. Right?
I was gonna Google
so
it.
There you have the biggest children's entertainment license over the last 50 years, and not a single game appears on Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. And again, it's not to put those. I'm not saying that to put them down. I'm just stating it as a fact to say, isn't that interesting, right? That maybe there's a corner here of this industry that we could comfortably travel on this road and be our own unique thing. Because the games that we're making for Sesame Street are being, do have like multiple players, couch co-op. Mom can actually sit there and help Cookie Monster bake with their kids, and using the motion controls or using the screens to draw and all this. And so mom and little sister and little brother, friends can all come over and do this together. Show me where that exists on mobile. Show me where that exists on the Switch. It doesn't, right? So yeah, again, we get harsh criticism from small groups of people, but they're not really understanding, kind of the overall picture and how important what we're doing is to the community. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You don't have to like it.
I think any criticism is based on the comparison to things that already exist. And like, for instance, if I were to be one of those people, just put my head in their thing is like, oh, well, it just seems like something like, oh, well, they have something like that on consoles called Jack in the Box. It's like, yeah, but Jack in the Box, Jackbox is fun, but it's also what you're saying. It's like the things that you could do with the Amico is like Jack in the Box or whatever on like steroids. Like, this is something you could actually have physical interactions with as far as, like you said, the things you described, rolling the dice, feeling it, having a game where you could play with your kids and you could be there helping your kids learn and stuff. That is a lot more than just a game. You are making something that's not just something for entertainment. You're making something that's educational, and it's all in this one device. So I feel like any negative criticism, like obviously people can criticize, that's normal.
It's fine. It's not for everybody.
Right, it's not for everybody, but at the same time, it's like you have people doing this thing where they're trying to compare it too much to things that already exist instead of expanding their mind and opening up to the new possibilities that this device could actually potentially hold. And I think I would be honest with you, when I first heard about it, I think me and Matt can even agree. When Max was saying about it, and Zod and everybody, we were like, well, I don't think that's something we would play, because we're console gamers. We play our PlayStations. But the more I'm hearing about it from you, the more like I'm learning about it, I can see myself like getting this for my niece and nephew, and
I can tell you
things like that.
Quite frankly, though, Saggy, I'm going to make this prediction right now, and we're going to laugh about it in about a year from now. You know, we'll all be laughing. Remember a year ago when we were talking? I guarantee there is so much content that we're making that you are going to personally love as well. Again, it's not Call of Duty, but we have some really fun, you know, arcade style. And again, these aren't games that you're going to sit down and play for 4 hours. They're not, right?
Right.
But when your non-gaming friends come over, or because every game has couch co-op and every game has single player as well, I'm telling you, there's some stuff on there that you're going to find like you're going to like, enjoy and play on your own. You just won't play it for 5 hours, but you'll be like, oh, you know what? This was fun and this and that. So I think there's stuff for you too. Don't get me wrong.
Right. But that's the beauty of it too. That's the beauty of it too, Tommy, is that even if say there really isn't anything for me personally on there.
Yeah.
I already can tell you, I know so many people who have kids and families that I could be like, this is a perfect gift, because my sister, my niece, like my sister loves old school games. This is something that she would like because it's simple for her. She's used to retro games, but also she has kids, so she can, and she loves doing things with kids.
She's perfect. She'll be first.
Right. So even if people can't find something they personally like, I guarantee you know a family or somebody who would that would be perfect for them. Even if it's not for you, it'd be perfect for somebody else.
In fact, you know, we've done a lot of market research, and we've also done a lot of focus testing. Now, it's been difficult to do in-person focus testing, but we do a lot of online and video stuff as well too, and get people's thoughts and reactions. You can't be in a position like we are, where you're raising tens of millions of dollars and not have market research.
Right.
You know, like these folks are like, oh, this is stupid. It's like, you know, again, people are investing millions and millions of dollars. We have $150 million line of credit for manufacturing. You don't get that kind of stuff unless not only do you have to have a great idea, but you have to have the data to back it up that other people are going to like this. It's not just, oh, hey, Tommy's a really passionate guy. Oh, he's a good salesman. I see that he thinks this is a good idea. People don't just put money into that. That's like a plus. Okay, you got a CEO who's active and out there and who believes in his product. That's good. Oh, what about the team? Oh my God, this team is amazing. They have 600 years of video game experience just on their executive teams. And okay, the team is great. The leader's great. The concept is great. It's fun. Okay, we can see where the profit's going to come into play. You can have all that. That still doesn't matter. They want to know, do other people want this too? And again, knowing this, because we're all successful business people, a lot of us who are, you know, who started this company, the new version of it, who are carrying on the legacy. We did massive hours and hours, hundreds, sometimes thousands of people to say, hey, here's our price point. Here's the product. Play the product, see the product, understand the product. What do you think of the price point? What do you think of the games? What do you think of this? What do you think of that? Boom, boom, boom. And you're right, Sag, just like you're thinking of your sister. If your sister knew about this, do you think she'd like it? You know, and for her to play it and then have her kids play it, we have all these kind of things, again, on video. We have them in reports. and by third-party people too, by the way. We don't want to do these things. Again, we're not trying to lie to ourselves. No, you do third-party, completely independent people. Again, investors don't care if, you got a bunch of your friends in a room together and they all said it's great. Yeah, whatever. That means nothing to them.
Right.
You hire third-party professional organizations that their job is to find problems with it, or their job because they want to give you the true and honest feedback. Those are the companies we go to. Those are the companies we spent a lot of money with. And those are the companies that all come back and go, some of these companies are going, wow, we've never experienced this before. We've done over 1,000 products and we've never seen so many people like a product and have this is the least amount of negative things we've ever seen anyone ever say. Because what we haven't talked about, do you think your sister would like the fact that all of our games digitally are $9.99 or less? Do you think she'd like the fact that all of our games, there's no violence, no toxic online culture that they can get on, no nudity, no, everything's child friendly? You think she'd like that as well too?
Yeah.
The fact that, if she has 8 people over the house, but she only has 2 controllers, that's okay. Download our free app. I could have charged 99 cents. I could have charged $2, by the way, but we didn't. Download our free app and connect as many controllers as you want so that everyone can play party games or roll the dice together and this and that. And so, yeah, so it's market research and focus testing. That's even more important here. And again, people can make fun of me all day long about, he always talks about that. Well, that's because it's so important and we have the data to back it up. It's not just me,
Right.
I have a go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I have a question because I do want to get the PS5. I have a Series X. I have the Switch. But I the number one problem that I foresee, and it's not that video games are growing or shrinking, the market's actually gotten bigger, especially since the pandemic. I think the number one problem still is consistent content. How are you going to, I know there's stuff we haven't even seen yet, but do you think that once it's released, and this might be one of the benefits of the delay, is that you're going to have something every week or every couple weeks or every month consistent? Because Nintendo even is just, how many Wii U games are on the Switch right now? I love Nintendo, but I've been buying the same games over, and it's all, the industry has gone towards more open world, more updates from firmware, and you're getting less and less games and more relying on your back catalog and games as service like Netflix, which I still enjoy, but the majority of my stuff, I'm playing old games and not new content. New content is a big issue in the industry right now.
That's right.
You think your team's going to tackle this?
100%. And again, what we did is we sat down and we said, what are all the things that annoy us about the video game industry right now? Because all of the people making this, we're all in the video game industry. Like we're like developers and creators who are crossing over into the hardware place now, right? And so we're making this, the ecosystem that we've created and the way that we see, like one of the problems with those big, with some of the bigger companies out there is that, remember, they're paying developers or they're developing it in-house, and they're spending tens of millions of dollars now on a product, right? I mean, look at Cyberpunk. How's that working out for them? And so
this is that the industry's going. That's the way it's going.
And so so there's that, or you have tons and tons of super talented indie places, like independent studios that are like struggling because they're not getting any money. Maybe they did a Kickstarter, an Indiegogo campaign or something, or they're all packed in their mom's basement or something, trying to save money so that they can, they're bootstrapping everything themselves and they're working other jobs to create this beautiful independent thing that EA is not going to give them the money to put it out, right? And so what we did is we sat down and we said, you know what? The innovation is in the indie scene right now, right? Because all of the big guys, They're just doing the same thing over and over. Let's be honest. Oh, it's another first-person shooter. Oh, but now you can see the reflection of the guy's brains getting blown out in that puddle in the. Wow, that's cool. And so, but it is kind of the same stuff, and that's just taking my Intellivision hat off for a second, and just like as speaking as a hardcore gamer, like, I look at the new systems out there, this launch past Christmas, and I'm playing and going like, yeah, like I'm not like in the old days when a brand new platform where there was like this level of excitement and you're like, oh my God. And there was this new thing, whether it was like blast processing on the Sega Genesis or like on GoldenEye, how you could zoom in on the N64 or seeing that pilot wings and oh my God, look at the grounds getting closer. There was always these kind of like wow, cool, aha, epic moments that you were like excited about, and I don't have that. I don't know. Maybe I'm different. Maybe I'm biased.
Well, they are selling extremely well. It's just like, why is consumers are we so addicted to buying the next big thing and there's nothing there?
Well, because number one, it's the same reason why people buy, because I've worked for phone companies before as well. It's the same logic of why people buy iPhones, right?
Yeah.
Now, I've worked at the phone companies and I've learned about phones. Now, what is the big difference between really Android and Apple? Well, number one, Samsung made the cameras for Apple phones. A lot of people didn't know that. Right now, I think right now LG has a contract to make their camera lenses. But all Apple actually does, do you know how much Apple actually makes out of the phones?
Probably not too much. No,
just the computer chip. You're paying all of that money for the new phones for the brand. You're not buying it because Samsung makes very good phones too. They actually have more dominant cameras. People say, right. Everyone's like, oh, Apple's got the best cameras. Well, Samsung used to make their cameras. Samsung actually has the better camera. But what you're doing is you're buying it for the brands, and every time a new phone or a new console comes out, what is really being changed? Like Tommy said, sometimes it's like now you could do something new in it. Like for instance, PlayStation. What does PlayStation 5 really do? The graphics are a little bit better.
The triggers too.
The triggers.
They're breaking.
Yeah, right.
Are they? I didn't hear that.
No, I haven't experienced it, but I've heard that the pushback on the triggers is actually causing them to break faster than the older games. Like So.
But to answer your question, Max, so we know this. We know going in. Look, if we come out and we have a whole bunch of games and then there's a lull for 6 months, we're dead in the water. We can't do that. So the way that we've structured our whole ecosystem is that we pay developers, independent developers, we pay them up front to create content for us. So we're not relying on third-party people like the Ouya did, right? We're not relying on other people creating exclusive content for us. No, we're the ones getting these talented people, paying them so that they don't have to worry about, so that we're helping them to create and realize their dream and their passion. We pay them up front. And so we're going to have... We're trying to get 35 completely unique exclusive games for our system on launch. We have 50 games in development right now. So that means another 15 games we're going to release like every, call it 10 to 15 days. Like let's say every 2 weeks, we release another new game and maybe 2 or whatever, but we're only going to release 1 at a time. So that can be the feature, so that people aren't like bombarded with a whole bunch of stuff, and then that will bring us into Christmas of 2021, and then as soon as we're already now starting to work on phase 2 of those games. And again, it doesn't take 3 years to make an Amico game. It takes anywhere from 6 to 9 months typically, right? Because again, we're not doing these epic adventures. So we can start in June or July and have another 50 ready to go for like January of 2022. So the way we've created our ecosystem, you're exactly right, Max. We always want there to be something new and unique and exclusive coming out every week or two.
So would you ever do like a subscription plan where like, okay, like if you subscribe to this, you get to play this game for like free, or then like in a coming month, these new set of games are going to be free for you to try out. If you're interested, you can buy them afterwards. Like, would you ever consider doing that?
It's a fantastic question, Matt. The answer is yes. We need to be careful though, because so many of the, and you probably all have this, right? Where the general public now is just being bombarded by trying to get people to move over to subscription stuff. It's like it started with Netflix, right? And now it's Disney Plus, and now it's Hulu, and now it's you want HBO Max and you want Cinemax, and that's it, and so you start to like, and you look on your credit card bill and go, my God, Sirius XM is $250 a year now. It's like you start to like, so we want to be, do I think that something like that could exist? Absolutely. In fact, here is but we have to approach it in the right way. Yeah. Value and trust is two of the most important things. And I tell this to all of our company weekly: value and trust. How do we create value and trust? It's not about, the spreadsheet and the profit margin. That's not our first important thing. Our first thing is the customer, our consumers. And if you create that value and trust, then the money and the success, the financial success, that follows. But that's not our goal. Our goal isn't to try to suck as much money out of people as possible. Our goal is to create amazing, beautiful experiences with people who value what they're getting and who trust us as a company that we're not going to screw them, right? And so that's where the subscription thing, it's a little bit of a tough one for us because, we don't want people to feel like we're trying to take advantage of them. So I think where that'll come in, Matt, is that like maybe a year or 2 years from now, when we've built up this incredible library, right, of maybe like 100 games.
Yeah, because there's so many games to try out. I mean, you're only going to get so many.
Then we can say, hey, you know what? This month you'll get exclusive to these to 30 games every month.
Yeah.
For that you can download and try whenever you want. Like a Game Pass type of situation or whatever. We need to have a big library. And we need to already have established that value and trust proposition before we go there. So it's not off the table. But here's something that I think everyone here will find really interesting. Did you know? So Intellivision, the original Intellivision machine, did some of the most incredible pioneering in the video game industry, and people don't even realize it. For example, I'll give you a couple of examples. When Intellivision and Mattel owned them at the time, when they did the Major League Baseball license in 1979, that was the very first time a video game company and a professional sports franchise did a deal together. The very first time. Now it's commonplace, but they were the first. Intellivision was the first to do that. Oh, wow. We were the first to do speech in a video game. People say, oh, well, yeah, that's just something that's commonplace now. But we were the first to do that ever, before the arcades even. We were the first to have a directional pad. The very first. Now D-pads are commonplace. But this disc, before us, it was either paddles or joysticks. That was it. We were the first to put it down. And back in the day, it was 16 directional, the original Intellivision thing. Where the hell is it? It was a 16 directional.
That's wild.
And now D-pads are only 8 directions. So even on your Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, it's only 8 directions. So we had innovated 16. By the way, our one now is 64 directions. And here I'll even show you the demo for it. Check it out. So here's the disc.
I want to see.
You can see all the different positions.
I have not my criticism, but I have a criticism of the controller. That's a thick boy.
That is a thick boy.
Thick boy.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
I'm
I'm gonna prove you wrong. You ready? Saggy, hold up your PlayStation 4 controller. I just saw you have it in your hand. Hold it up. Hold it this way.
Yeah.
Which one's thinner, Max?
Shit, we'll even hold the current one.
No, that's not mine.
Which one? There you go. There's PlayStation 4. Which one's thinner?
Yeah, yours is thinner. I'm just saying that's what I've heard. I don't want a cheap feeling. If some phones feel cheap to me, I don't know. I do. So I like Nintendo, but the Switch one is cheap feeling to me. I don't like it.
Thick boy energy.
Thick boy.
Thick boy.
Right. Which one's thicker? You know, it's Max, and it's perfect. Like, you know, like again, it's not going to be for everybody. It's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah.
But you can see the amount of time that we spent, like even like when you put your fingers behind it, see how they and there's like these angles. We spent so long on these angles, like it just feels like silk butter, you know, and it's not harsh edges. Like look back at like the NES controller. It's like, you know, these square, look at how all of our, you know, it's perfectly tapered for comfort. Look at the buttons themselves. You know, they're like deep dish. So you go and you can, you know, they kind of click too, right? When you push them in, but they're deep dish. And one thing you can't really tell, but the ends on one side flare up a little bit. I don't know if you can't really tell.
A little, I see it.
But so when your fingers are in like this, they don't slip off because there's the ends are a little bit like higher. But again, we have a gyroscope and an accelerometer, which means you can play it like this, or if you're a lefty, you can play it like this. Or if you're a righty, you can play it like this. Or when you have the motion controls, that's why we have the lanyard here. You push it on like this, and now it's like the old Wii, or whatever.
I wasn't excited at cornhole at first, but now I'm like, yeah, I'll play that one.
So like the Wii had a sensor. Like, how is it going to pick up on the screen when you use it?
That's a great question, Matt. So here's the thing. There were two things that the Wii controller had. In the base unit itself, it has what is called an accelerometer. That's the thing that you find in all of your mobile devices, so that when you move your mobile device around, it knows, you know, what's going. That's called an accelerometer, right? The strip that you're talking about was like an infrared strip, so that on the top of the pointer, you know, it's like your remote control on your TV, same technology, IR technology. It was showing, so it was able to read the lights on the top of that strip. That was for positioning on the screen so that you could use it like a pointer.
Yeah.
That IR strip didn't have anything to do with the actual motion. What we did is not only do we have an accelerometer on here, and I can show you that demo as well. So you see this? See the ball moving all around the place, right? So the accelerometer, and we also put a gyroscope in there as well. So accelerometer and gyroscope, those two things combined, like your mobile device, not only does it do this, it understands this, but it also understands that speed, right?
Just tap your wrist on when you do that at your TV.
Right, yeah. So we can tell how quick somebody is using it and the angle at which they're doing. Now, if we wanted to use it as a pointer on screen, then we would have to add that strip and the IR thing. We're not interested in that. And just as a final side note thought on that, later down the road in the Wii's thing, they then added a gyroscope, but it was that thing that you had to attach to the bottom.
That was the Wii Plus. Okay.
The Wii Plus, that then had a gyroscope because the technology wasn't even, you know, like 100% there yet because that came out 15 years ago. So they later added the gyroscope. So we have actually more technology in here than the original Wii controller. So, but it's a great question, Matt. Not a lot of people ask that, and I'm glad you did.